Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a bunch of stories that I want to share with you guys about how and why the economy is collapsing. This is 100% Trump's fault. And Trump's team seems to understand this. I think they see the writing on the wall. They appear to know that the midterms are just going to be brutal for Republicans. And, as I've mentioned before, the whole idea behind getting people to turn against Trump is because of a potential impeachment. I see a lot of comments still of people going, "Oh, who cares? He's already in office. What does it matter what his polls are and blah blah blah." It matters because the Republican Party, the Congress members are not going to turn against Trump until they see his numbers hit such a rock bottom low number, and until their own constituents are saying, "This is bullshit. I'm pissed off. I'm done with this guy." Only then will they side with and potentially vote with Democrats to impeach and remove him. So that's why it's important. But anyway, they seem to know they need to get the economy turned around. And we know this because the Wall Street Journal published an article, and this is about how they recommended that, or his advisors, I should say, recommended that Trump change his economic messaging from, "Oh my God, look how great it is, best economy ever, golden era, all that bullshit." They're telling him, "No, you need to change it, and you need to start talking about wait till next year. Next year is going to be great." So this was what they published. And the thing is, Donald Trump doesn't even seem to think that his economy is going to get better next year. He's pushing it even further. He was at an event recently, and at this event, Trump told the reporters in regard to the economy, quote, "Our big year won't be really next year. It'll be the year after." So he's saying, actually 2027. 2027 is actually when you're going to feel it. I mean, some Americans obviously can't hold on that long, right? I don't mean to laugh because it is very serious. I mean, a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, they might not make it through to even the end of this year. Average citizens are becoming desperate. So check out this recent segment. This was, I think, maybe a few weeks back on CNN. They went, one of their correspondents went, and she spoke with Tennessee residents. She also spoke with a local food pantry. So I put together this short mashup of what they all had to say.
Times things is 4 times what they was a year ago. A roast I used to get for $12, $15, $35. It's awful.
Everything, just keeps going up.
Well, I used to spend $40 a week. Now it's 140 or something like that. I just don't think it's going to go down for a long time. They're not concerned with people like us.
They said these tariffs that they've got on, it's going to bring prices down. They're not. Because it's going to have to charge more to make up for them having to pay to bring it in. And I just say everything's going downhill.
And Central Services, a food bank here in Morristown, Tennessee, says it's seen 22% more new families this year than last.
22% more families. So Joe Biden, according to Donald Trump supporters, had the worst economy ever. People were dying and struggling and everything was horrible. And yet we have 22% more people going to a food bank in Tennessee, a state that Donald Trump won handily, than they did the year prior when Biden was in office. The New York Times also went out. They also spoke with some small business owners who are really struggling. So one in particular, his name is Brandon Mills. He owns a promotional product company. So like t-shirts, hats, things like that. His company is based in Las Vegas, Nevada, another state that flipped and went to Donald Trump last year. And he told them he is so stressed out from Donald Trump's tariffs, quote, "It's hard to breathe. It's difficult to have to survive because of poor policy." In addition to increasing prices and taking out a line of credit to just try to stay afloat, this Mills guy had to fire one of his employees. So it's it is a domino effect. It doesn't just affect the business owner. It's not like, oh, he's just taking home less profit. Like, the bigger companies can weather this storm. They have more room. They have more profit margin, more profit in general, more savings. Small companies do not. So, now his employee is laid off. So that affects their family. And then, it just dominoes. They also spoke with somebody named Lori Andre, and she had to do the same thing. She is the owner of a clothing store located in Illinois. It has been around for more than 4 decades. She started this company over 40 years ago. And in an interview, Andre said that she has now raised her prices by a minimum of 10%. She also laid off one of her staff members. And Andre said she's not able to provide pay increases to the staff that she's keeping. So, normally she would look at it and maybe give them a pay raise during the new year. That's totally off the table and is 100% because of Donald Trump's tariffs. Andre's company just paid, she told them, $74,000 just in tariff fees. So that was for her fall inventory from Italy that she brought in. And she said that was 2 times higher than what she normally pays. And then check out what this former Republican congressman had to say. He's no longer in office, but he has some outside businesses that I guess he's had for a while. Here's how Donald Trump's tariffs are affecting this former Republican congress member.
There's even personal examples. I own distilleries, not only AI companies, but I own distilleries. But we just got a 50% tariff notice for glass and some of the other things that we use to do bottling on our lines. And for the last 2 weeks, we've been trying to figure out what do you do, right? Do you actually raise prices? Do we limit production? What do we do with bottles? Do we forward lean and get more bottles, right? When I talk about pallets, I'm talking thousands and thousands of dollars in added costs for our companies. I can't imagine what it's doing to larger manufacturers if you go downstream on tariffs. The economy is the single biggest thing here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I can tell you that, especially with the job losses up north with government jobs and contractor jobs, and you're seeing sort of these arbitrary cuts coming down right through DOGE and through other mechanisms. So for right now, I think the economy is not in a great place. If you look at the revised June numbers going down, only 22,000 jobs added this month. The messaging, I think, from Democrats and independents could be simply, this is a failed experiment in the first 8 months, and there has to be a course correction.
You don't say. Failed experiment. On almost a daily basis, I see news stories popping up of small and mid-sized businesses that are totally struggling, trying to keep their doors open, trying to maintain profit. And it is 100% because of this added tax that Trump imposed on all of their products. And so many of them say, if I could purchase products, if I could purchase, all of everything I need for my business in the US, I would do it. But no one makes X, Y, or Z in America. I don't have a choice but to import it. So they're doing what they can to stay in business, and they would love to buy American. But you can't just impose this tax and not have some sort of, actually, you can impose the tax after you work to bring these companies and these products back to America, not the other way around. He put the cart before the horse. And, this is definitely having a negative impact on the job market. Like I said, that, a couple of employers are laying people off. It's not just them. Across the country, this is happening. And even if they aren't firing the workers, a lot of companies are saying, I don't feel comfortable hiring additional staff. I need people. I need more workers. But I can't do it right now because I don't know what my costs are going to be. I don't know what my overhead is going to end up being with these tariffs. And I don't know if he's going to keep them on, if he's going to pull them off, if they're making a deal. Like, there's so much uncertainty. And because of the government shutdown, the Bureau of Labor Statistics didn't publish their September jobs report. I'm sure you guys have all heard that. Now, other companies have released data, and it's not good. It is very concerning. So take a look at this one. So last week, ADP, which does payroll for companies, they issued a report. They do their report every month, and they showed that the U.S. lost jobs. That we not only didn't add jobs, we lost 32,000 jobs, according to them, in September. Now, you can find other reports that are a little bit better, but none of them are good. None of them are like, oh, yeah, economy is booming, things are great. No, just it's not out there. And the New York Times reported that long-term unemployment, which means people who've been unemployed for at least 6 months or more, that has hit a level that they said we haven't seen since the COVID pandemic. They said as of August, 1.9 million Americans have been out of work for 27 weeks or longer. And this is disproportionately affecting young Americans. So new college graduates are screwed right now. Like, they cannot find jobs. They're overtrained for what they are taking, even if they can find something. Like, they have, degrees for things that they cannot put to use. And part of this also is because of AI. AI is taking over a lot of tasks that humans used to do in entry-level positions. Also, employers are much more likely to go with someone who has experience. If they actually decide, oh, I'm going to bite the bullet, I'm going to go ahead and hire someone, they're not hiring the fresh out of college graduate, or especially a fresh out of high school graduate. So just not good. And check this out. This is a graph from the Federal Reserve Bank. So this is from the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond. And this is as of July, and I believe it's gotten worse since then. In this graph, you don't want to see it going up. Okay, normally when you see a graph, you're like, oh, it's going up. That's good. No, this is the opposite. This is the unemployment rate for new high school and college graduates. So these are people just trying to enter the workforce. And as you can see, they said as of July, it was 13.4% unemployment for this group. It has gotten worse since then. And then the Daily Beast reported that these new job seekers are, quote, facing the most hostile job market since the 1980s. You add to that Trump's reversal of Biden's student loan program, total and complete disaster. Complete and utter financial disaster. The Guardian news outlet, they went out and spoke with a bunch of people in their 30s and 40s they're lucky to be working, but they're still paying off their student debt. I mean, we have the most absurd, ridiculous country on the planet at this point. So these people were telling this news outlet, I want to have children. I'm having to delay that. I'd like to buy a home. I can't do that either. They can't afford anything. One woman, her name is Sedona. She is an attorney. She's 30 years old. So, normally you would say, oh, an attorney, like, she should be making bank and, like, be able to buy a house and no problem, especially at 30 years old. Like, she's right at that prime age. She said she and her partner live together. So they have dual income and they are living paycheck to paycheck. because of student loans and because of the cost of living. And she even takes on side jobs, she said, just to try to cover their expenses. So, no surprise, Americans are not really feeling the effects of Donald Trump's golden era, right? Even the people who voted for him. Speaking of which, farmers, okay? Farmers are getting hit big time. It's about, I think it was like something like 75%. Remember, I did a report on that. Like 75% of American farmers voted for Trump last year. So yes, I know it's hard to have empathy for these people who did this to themselves. But check this out. Check out what this one farmer had to say.
Dismal global market and plunging commodity prices mean there's little to no hope of breaking even for many farmers, even as sky-high input costs rise because of inflation and now tariffs. Not to mention bad weather earlier in the year.
This time last year, the rice price was about 40% higher than it is now. The inputs costs have gone up, so after a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
Though President Trump's big beautiful bill provided a much needed update to safety net subsidies for farmers, they won't see those federal dollars until late next year, by which time some have projected that as many as 1/4 or even 1/3 of Arkansas farmers will face bankruptcy or be forced to leave the business amid the crisis the American ag economy is currently in. It's already taken its toll this year.
I'm a sixth-generation farmer from Newport, and we made the decision to go out this year. In the spring. So my son will not be the seventh generation on our farm.
5 of my customers have committed suicide. That's how serious that this is.
Today, Arkansas farmers gathered to share their struggles with staffers from the state's congressional delegation, pleading for Arkansas lawmakers on Capitol Hill and the governor to convince President Trump to provide emergency funding to help them make it to next year.
We have to have ad hoc payments right now to make it through this year.
If there's no emergency funding this year, there will be 1 out of 3 farmers will file bankruptcy.
I'm sorry. It pisses me off that Donald Trump is actually considering a bailout for farmers. I get they're in trouble. I get it. I know it. This is Donald Trump's doing. His tariffs caused this. And now he's like, oh, well, we're going to use the tariffs to pay the farmers. We're going to give them, subsidies and help bail them out. Oh, and then we're going to use the tariffs to pay for WIC formula for babies and for women, low-income mothers and blah, blah, blah. How many things are you going to use it for? I mean, according to Donald Trump, he was going to use the tariffs to pay down our national debt. That's not working. That's not happening. They're actually adding to the national debt because they had to give those bailouts to the wealthy, because they had to give more tax breaks to billionaires like his buddy Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Because, they're struggling so bad, you guys. They just can't do it without another private jet. And now he's talking about taking the revenue from these tariffs, paying to farmers. So he is literally robbing Peter to pay Paul because that money is coming out of our pockets. That money we are paying at the grocery stores, at the clothing stores, at everywhere. Anything you buy, car parts, you go in for an oil change. I mean, everything has gone up as a result of Donald Trump's policies and these damn tariffs. And so we're paying more, the business owners are paying more, and now we're going to use it to bail out the freaking farmers who voted for this, who saw what he did the first time. I'm sorry, but you talk about welfare queens, freaking farmers. They'll bitch left and right. Oh, Communist Party, the Democrats are socialists, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as something doesn't go their way, they come with their hand out. Just pisses me off. Anyway, Take a look at this chart. This was created by Donald Trump's Department of Agriculture. See if I can find it here for you guys. So what this shows is the amount of U.S. soybeans that have been sold to China so far. The chart goes from October 2024 through July. But as you can see, it just totally started to decline pretty rapidly in January. And then it has just gone downhill I guess it started to decline after October of last year, but just completely went downhill, fell off a cliff in April. And then, as you can see on the chart, total halt at the end of May. Soybeans were our number one export from the US. That is the number one thing, the top export from our country. China is now sourcing their soybeans from other countries, from Brazil and Argentina specifically. To add insult to injury, Donald Trump just announced he's bailing out Argentina to the tune of $20 billion. So they screw up their economy and they're getting $20 billion in a bailout while Donald Trump screws up our economy. So while Americans are struggling to make ends meet, can't afford basic living expenses, U.S. farmers are going bankrupt, losing everything, some taking their own lives, and Donald Trump is planning a loan of $20 billion of our tax money to his buddy Javier Milei. So, yeah, I guess it's not America first. It's Argentina first. It's Israel first. Unbelievable. Anyway, consumer confidence, as you would expect, totally plummeting. Experts are predicting that it is absolutely going to get worse in the coming months. So, for example, Mark Zandi, who's the head of Moody's Analytics, he ran all of the variables through the company's database. He warned, this was a few weeks back. Let me bring this up for you guys. He said, quote, "The algorithm has identified building permits as the most critical economic variable for predicting recessions. And while permits had been holding up reasonably well as builders supported sales and through interest rate buy downs and other incentives, inventories of unsold homes are now high and on the rise. In response, builders are pulling back and permits have started to slump. They are now as low as they've been since the pandemic shutdowns." So what he's saying in a nutshell is, yeah, for a while, building was going okay and new home sales were going okay. Builders were offering all of these incentives to get people in the door, to get them to still buy. They were buying down their interest rates. They were slashing prices. They were doing whatever they could to get rid of inventory. But guess what? That has come to an end. Things have gotten really grim, and now builders are pulling back and they are not even going to build anymore. And this next warning is even more concerning. So there's a guy named Mark Spitznagel. I think that's how you say it. He's a hedge fund manager. He is someone that Wall Street calls the crash guy. Guess he's really good at predicting crashes. So Spitznagel says that the U.S. is headed for a 1929 level crash. Horrific. Absolutely horrific. So Spitznagel says that what we're seeing in the stock market right now is basically, it's identical to what it was like in 1929. There was like this big buying frenzy because people thought, oh, it's just going to keep going up. It's never going to crash. It's, I'm going to keep making more and more and more, kind of like the housing bubble. Kind of like what happened in 2007, 2008 with the housing crash. And that in 1929, right before all of those catastrophic losses that destroyed people's lives, also caused people to take their lives, stole everything from them. This is exactly what they saw. People were buying up stocks left and right, just like they're doing right now. So really, really scary news, guys. And unfortunately, because Donald Trump has surrounded himself with nothing but yes men and women, total Trump humpers that only want to be on his good side and only want to tell him what he wants to hear, he's not hearing any of this. I don't know that I mean, something must be getting through because of what I started with about how he's saying, oh, the economy is going to be good, but wait till 2027. So he must on some level know that things aren't good, but I don't think that anybody is willing to or has the ovaries to go to him and say, your policies are destroying the country. Your policies are destroying the economy. This, is going to be catastrophic. And I don't know that we can pull up at a later date. It might be too late. We need to turn the ship around now. We need to start turning this thing around. So we're headed for the cliffs. Anyway, I will keep you posted. I'll let you know when I hear more about the economy. There's stuff, like I said, coming out every day. So please share this video with everybody you know so they understand where things are at, what's going on, so we can all start, making some noise and try to bring awareness to this before it is too late, because this is a big ship. It does take a lot to turn it around. And if we wait too long, I don't know how long it'll be before we come out of this nosedive. Anyway, guys, thank you all again so much for watching and listening. Please like this video. Again, share it, subscribe if you have not. If you can donate, it really helps to keep the show going. I greatly appreciate it. Really, truly appreciate all of you who are monthly subscribers, who help out with donations and monthly fees. So you really are the backbone of this show. All right. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.